You know the old games?
Yeah, the ones that these modern gamers call outdated, clunky, ancient.
Did you know that they are actually better than the games today?
No way, no.
That's right guys, today I'm going to give you 4 reasons why retro games have always been better than modern games. Personally, I'm probably one of the few people who are still addicted to the older games that released in the 90s and noughties, and I also still have some old consoles like the PS3 and Xbox 360. For other consoles, I sometimes use emulators on Windows with no issues with internet because it's offline. And this brings me to my first reason why older games are better than the new ones. DRM or digital rights management is the equivalent of copyright protection, but for digital media. And it's in place to prevent piracy on discs and is also used to authenticate your purchase of a game. Now, there are 2 forms of DRM. There is the traditional DRM, which just prevents you from pirating, and I don't mind that one. And then there is the always on DRM, which is what Microsoft infamously implemented into the Xbox One when it first launched. And I'll be honest that this type of DRM is the one I don't want to see much, unless the game is a live service game, which we'll come to later. And it's absolutely unfair because say if your internet is faulty or you can't afford the broadband, you can't play that game with always on DRM. Also for PC gamers, DRM is a real problem because it means there has to be another application running in the background and tends to slow down the PC and clog up the RAM, preventing the game from running at optimal performance. And to rub the salt in the wounds, DRM shows that you don't really own the game you bought, and it means that a publisher can just seize it from you whenever they want to. Back in the days, there was no need to worry because the game you bought would forever be yours, and you could play it whenever you wanted. No delisting and no online connection required unless you were playing online with someone.
Unbelievable.
Anyway, time for the second reason. Microtransactions, microtransactions, microtransactions. In modern gaming, there are so many microtransactions in games, especially live service games. Now, not all live service games are criticised because I enjoy such games like The Division and Rocket League, but compared to old games such as Star Wars Battlefront, Burnout and many others, they are inferior. And some games even force you to pay in order to enjoy the game in the best possible way. And I'll be honest, this is like for powerful weapons and certain armor and many others. It just doesn't make sense. The only kind of microtransaction I like and don't mind is expansions or DLC that expand on a story or add something new to an already good single player campaign. But the pay to win model, no way, because I shouldn't have to buy this weapon, armor or a certain power to enjoy the game. And this is becoming a big problem in the industry because every AAA publisher believes that more money can be made from this model and from live service games, and that is not the way in my opinion. The third reason why retro games are better is that they were more single player oriented. In the 90s and noughties there were a lot more single player games. There is no question about it. Tomb Raider, Super Mario 64, Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid, Deus Ex, Halo, I can go on forever. There isn't as much single player games as there used to be. And that comes down to what we said earlier about publishers and live service games. They are so focused on this type of game that single player campaigns and offline games are being left behind, and that is unacceptable. Now you can call me anything you want, but it doesn't change the fact that single player games are way better. Look at PlayStation's exclusives. They are mostly single player games. God of War, Uncharted, Last of Us, Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank, Horizon, Spider-Man and so on. If you want more proof, then look at Xbox. Xbox are following the more popular model of primarily making online multiplayer games through exclusives like Halo. And PlayStation is kind of following with Helldivers 2, but who is the market leader of the industry and is doing better? It's PlayStation, the one with the exclusives that are single player games. As for what this has got to do with old games, look on the PS1, PS2, OG Xbox, Xbox 360 and PS3. They all had great single player games, whether third party or first party. And that is a fact. The fourth reason why old games are better is couch co-op or local multiplayer. Multiplayer has since become mostly online with the exception of sport games and racing games, And this one really disappoints me because there is always a time where you may want to have a mate down and play some games. But if you have a PS4 or PS5 and you or your mate are not into FIFA, NBA, Madden or anything related to sport, then you can't play together because apart from games in those genres, you can't play locally. Now there are games that are not sport games and are locally playable, like Minecraft as an example, but they're not as prevalent. Look at the retro games. On the PS2 you had a plethora of couch co-op games. The Conflict games, Killzone, Ghost Recon, Time Splitters, Rainbow Six, and even some of the 007 games. On other consoles you also had some couch co-op games. Look at Gears of War. You could literally do all 3 campaigns with a friend next to you. Now it's all online and there are less options available. And you thought I would forget the Wii? The Wii was built with friends and family in mind. They all had the options to play alone, but they were optimized for more than one person. And look at the games. Mario Kart Wii, Wii Sports, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, they were all top-notch games. Mario Kart Wii is still the best Mario Kart ever, and Wii Sports is still the best-selling Nintendo game ever. And the Wii literally outsold both the Xbox 360 and PS3, which were more powerful and seemingly had better games. Now before you haters come up and say what about the Nintendo Switch? Yes, it's also a good console and it did outsell the Wii, but nothing comes close to what the Wii actually did, because I swear the Switch wouldn't do well without the Wii's existence. And also no one can take away the amazing memories that most of us who had a Wii still have today. And guess what? I still have a Wii and play it. If you understood what I said, then you would know that retro gaming is the best thing ever. There are great modern games, but not the same as in the past. It may be nostalgia, but it is also true. Think of why emulators exist and why they are so popular today. Most gamers want older games preserved and the industry needs to do better in this sort of thing. Look at the movies. So many movies are still being preserved, and I think games should be given the same treatment, and I hope I'm not the only one who believes this. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, smash the bell button, give your thoughts on the video in the comment section, and I'll see you next time. Take care.
Don't you think you've seen enough?